course, in front of you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Prismatic Dragonfly Tavern. It's our first time on air for a little bit. We've been really busy down here in Reno, Nevada with RageCon that just happened a little while ago. Don't ask me for the dates. They've been purged from my mind until that next year. We had a great time at RageCon, though, with a bunch of our buddies from Andromeda Adventures, Mythic Geekdom, and a bunch of other local creators where we just had a great time at RageCon. It was a wonderful, but it happens to be 110 high today here in Reno, at least where I'm at in the city, and our current studio does not have HVAC. So we decided to do a remote session tonight because we miss each other and dearly want to get back to PDT adventures. So we're going to go ahead and do a Discord adventure tonight. And you just get to look at me for the entire evening, apparently. Um, so,
And awesome character art, Sans Vander.
oh wait, is
Yeah.
that? I haven't looked at the stream. Oh, okay, we do have the character art. Okay. See, there is actually the Vander character art is some of the best character art we have. Definitely needs to be showed off some more by our amazing artist Ray. Um, excuse me. But no announcements to be made, except I think I know we had a great time at RageCon. That was amazing. Can't wait till next year. We have some exciting stuff coming news-wise for Mythical Family soon. Not too much to share right now, but we got cool things going on in the background. So otherwise, I think I'll do a little recap, and we can go ahead and jump into tonight's game. And I will not have the stream up on a monitor because I'm just going to stare at myself. Um, all right. So last time, Prismatic Dragonfly Tavern, our gallant adventurers had just located, or so they thought, they located the mother of one of the party members. They thought they found Vander's mother, Aerith. They tracked her down to the tea yard that she runs outside of Quandir Bay. And when they got there, they were treated to a very surprising sight where it had looked like Vander's mother, half her body had been destroyed or injured in some sort of accident or battle, perhaps, and been replaced with the same sort of porcelain that Vander's prosthetic arms are made out of. After a short conversation with this individual, though, they found out that this is actually Fulmar, Aerith's right hand sort of automaton assistant. Oh, it's so weird doing this to a webcam and not having your faces to look at. But they found out that Aerith and Fulmar were involved in an accident when they were trying to sever ties to the Feywild, specifically sever ties with a very old deal that her family had made many generations ago. And there was an explosion at their access point to the Feywild, and the explosion or something involved in it seems to have fused the two of them. So Fulmar, one side of their body is this porcelain robot, the other side is elvish, and then for Aerith, it's the same, but just opposite. And Aerith is stranded in the Feywild somewhere. They've gotten a message once or twice from her, but they haven't been able to retrieve her. And it's been over 10 years at this point that she's been in the Feywild. So the party, putting their heads together, did a bunch of investigating and looked over the ruins of where this happened in the basement of the family's estate. And with some help from a guest in their party, Skalea, they were able to astrally project to the Feywild. When they were setting up for this, though, this ritual, they put a lot of effort into it. Sani and Skalea put their heads together and tried to make some minor alterations to the ritual so that they would be able to not Skalea would not be affected so negatively by the power required to cast this spell. And it seems like they were successful, at least as we've seen so far. Everybody took their places, and Skalea started the ritual. And then, as the ritual was reaching a crescendo and about to finish casting, Vander noticed that there was a spirit, an outline of something in the ritual that seemed like it was causing it to draw more power, throwing it off or something like that. And around the same time, he also noticed that blood started to pour from Skalea's nose, and as a look of horror fell across her face. Most likely the fact that she has had a traumatic brain injury for a little while based on some other stuff that happened in the story and has not really got a break to recover and keeps shooting blood out her nose when spells happen. But she cast this thing anyway without realizing it because the GM didn't realize it and it's going to make a great story. But Vander notices this and Vander uh, leans forward his astral self leans forward, wraps Skalea in his arms, and pulls her to his chest in a very adorable, romantic, and possibly self-sacrificing way, to see if he can help out reduce the strain that the spell is having on her. And then right after Vander had done this, everybody's vision faded to white as the astral projection spell finished. So we're going to go ahead and pick up right from there. For everybody in the circle, Vander was the one that was kind of knocking the perception rules out of the park last time and noticed these things. But by the time, like in the split second or two before everything fades to bright white, everybody will see the obvious blood on Skalea's face, maybe the bit of graying and on one streak of her hair, but you will see Vander like lean forward and grab her, the astral self. So you have some idea that things went wrong as everything fades to white, but it fades to white. You're enveloped in this feeling of calm and warmth, and there isn't the typical nauseating side effects that come with teleportation, thunderpad use, misty step, anything. Even Vander's phase step technically would probably make somebody feel a little nauseous if they're not used to it. This is the most comfortable teleportation that you've ever experienced. And an indeterminate amount of time later, it's probably just a couple seconds, but you don't really have a sense of time once your vision goes pure white. You find yourself in the exact same pose that you entered. So if you were cross-legged, kneeling, however you were preparing yourself, you'll be in that pose here. And your vision's going to come back very gently. So kind of starting with white, fading away with sort of that white halo at the edge until your vision's restored over the course of like 10, 15 seconds. And you smell beautiful flowers, all sorts of floral scents. You feel kind of soft dirt slash grass, perhaps, maybe other foliage under your knees. And as those seconds tick away, you eventually make out the distinct shapes and silhouettes of your companions. Um, in about 15, 20 seconds from the first moment of you gaining that sense of time and self back, you're there. And as far as you can tell, all of you made it through. You can see each other, and you immediately notice the tiny little silver thread trailing from each person's back that Scalia had kind of warned everybody about and prepped them for. But in the middle of the circle, or close to the middle of the circle, where Scalia was kind of the head, got pulled in a bit by Vander, um, she's in Vander's arms, her actual astral self that has now materialized. And now that you're here, you just look like each other. There's not like a glow about you or a transparency. You just look like you normally do. You have the same physicality and everything like that. You just have the weird cord. Otherwise, you wouldn't know it really wasn't you. So Skalea is kind of crumpled onto Vander's lap and is in his arms. The blood is still there. The little bit of gray in her hair is still there. And as you all kind of like come come into this reality. uh,
What are you doing there?
my players,
I
mess
didn't
with
say
me.
anything.
No, I could see all your fucking faces though.
No, you can't.
Even yes, no, but I can. I can feel all your faces. And
Uh-huh.
goodbye. My players constantly torment me and tease me to the point where certain reactions are just built into my head now that I had no reason to get all giggly over that line, but because of us talking about a famous RageCon clip right before we went live, I'm a giggle fit. So anyway,
Or is it just that you're 15 years old on the inside?
apparently. Um so you all see the scene before you, each other. You've finished mostly reorienting to this reality. And the first thing that you feel, Vander, from Slaya is that she starts fighting to get out of your arms in a weirdly strong fit.
Oh. Well, of course he'd like let her go.
She like kind of snaps out of your arms, like flailing like somebody that's in a panic, and she falls back onto her ass and like pushes herself along with her hands and feet for a good foot or two. She looks like she's hyperventilating. The blood is coating her face in a way that could be comical under certain lights, but in this light looks very frightening because it's just kind of down over her mouth and her chin. Definitely hyperventilating. Her pupils are dilated, and she's like snapping her head around, looking at everybody, but also not looking at everybody. Like there's a bit of a haze to her eyes. Um, and she seems to be looking for something that isn't there because she like looks at each one of you multiple times and doesn't seem satisfied, and she just snaps out, which one of you did it? Who fucked the spell up?
Uh, there was a figure, but I don't know who it was.
There's a what? A fake? What are you talking about?
When the spell was happening, there was someone kind of watching. I don't know who they were.
Someone just watching? I don't, what, did Fulmar step into it? And she like pauses for a moment and then turns and throws up.
Ooh.
um and she takes a moment, heaving and then breathing, and then wipes her mouth and just she looks like a panicked animal right now and does not look like she's centered in the slightest.
Er, Would
What
you
is
like some
everybody doing?
water? Offering her water.
Do you like pull out a canteen or something?
Yeah.
Okay. She like her eyes snap to the canteen and she looks pissed. Like the most pissed you've ever seen this woman. In a rage. But she like delivers the rage expression into the canteen and then looks up at Vander, and her gaze softens slightly. And Vander, roll a perception check.
Okay. Oh gosh. Have to remember
I,
how to
I will
roll in
just be
the
I will just be trusting you
beyond.
for your rolls. Yes. You should just be able to click the ability. The
Oh,
word perception.
I see. How do I this game, this website?
Do you need tech support?
I need tech support. No, I'm fine. It's a 15.
15? Okay. You notice that there seems to be a thin, milky layer over her eyes, like she's really not here, or there's something affecting her vision. When she like is just she doesn't say anything or reach for the canteen, she just glares at it with absolute hatred, looks at you with a bit of like less hatred and confusion, and you notice that about her eyes.
Uh,
Is anybody else doing anything during this?
I'd like to go up and a hand on her shoulder and cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. Roll for the heal amount.
Um, that's not what it does.
Lesser doesn't have a heal component on it. Is it just the remove?
Yeah, you touch a creature and can end either one disease or one condition. Afflicting it, the condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned.
Hmm. Would it actually have an effect in this case? I think it would. Perhaps not the one that you were intending, but you cast the spell and you feel as if something was removed. Um Vander, you notice that the milkiness over her eyes, excuse me, vanishes, and she blinks rapidly in confusion. Um I need to roll a dice here. It's more exciting if I make players do it though. Vander, roll a D100.
I love that dice roll.
Oh boy.
Said no one ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite. I'm not lying when I say I love
Yeah, I kind of
D100.
D100s are my favorite, legitimately too. Like that's
I got
not
a
a joke.
49.
49? Damn, jeez. So her eyes lose that weird milkiness to them, and like they resharpen into crystal clarity with the silver eyes of hers. Um, and she looks at you, Vander, and the anger and rage and everything else that had been in them to this point is replaced with absolute fear. And then they roll back in her head and she hits the ground. And her breathing quickly returns to normal, but she's unconscious. And you are in the Feywild.
What happened?
Percolate. I don't have any idea.
Going to use the thingamabob. If I could stop right clicking on this, that'd be great. Lay on hands.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna give her 10 points of healing.
All right. 10 points of healing. spell definitely seems to have some effect. And you notice that as a byproduct of the um lay on hands, the blood on her face quickly dries into like flaky little bits, and it doesn't seem like any more is coming from her nose. She has little lock of gray hair, like very tiny lock of gray hair as well. But other than that, she looks like herself.
So I guess she maybe wasn't as healed as we thought she might have been.
We shouldn't have done this.
We prepped for everything. He just stops and he gets up. He scoops Sick into his arms and just kind of carries her since they're just in the middle of nowhere.
So you pick her up in your arms, and as you all are kind of talking and trying to figure out what happened or what's going on, you get a good look of your surroundings. You all are in a giant open field, or at least what's now a field. The landscape is this weird mix of pretty yet not, beautiful yet tarnished, where this probably was a very rich, beautiful, multicolored fey forest at one point. And there's a little bit of that left. You all seem to be like kneeling on a patch of particularly vibrant green grass with some almost cartoonish colored flowers on them. But around you, there's runes. And at first glance, you're not sure what kind of runes, but there's giant stone columns that have tumbled. There's, remnants of walls. This could have been a castle, perhaps. Maybe it was a building conducted for research or something like that. But there used to be a big building here at some point, and it looks like it was destroyed. Not by the passage of time. You can easily see blast marks and different leftover indicators of magical spells being used. And the earth, for the most part, seems to be scorched earth. So everything is burnt, everything is charred. There's a lot of blacks and grays and browns that you wouldn't usually associate with the Feywild in the immediate area. And even a forest in the distance looks like it's completely withered with no leaves on the trees. And the area around you is very still, no wildlife, no sounds, or anything like that.
Was the spell interrupted somehow? Or is
I,
this...
I think we are in the right place.
I'm not sure where to start. I don't I don't know what to do.
Let's see what's around us.
Yeah.
You remember when I was telling you all about Matilda's story about the Thet? This kind of fits with what I was hearing in that story.
Can you remind us?
An invader came to the court and just started stealing the powers of the Fae, forced herself to be in charge, was corrupting things. She's the one who changed Matilda's body.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's who that was. So this is a sort of, I guess, landmark of sorts. Is there any like a path that we see?
Um, Everybody just do general perception checks.
14.
14,
Uh, 6.
6. Is that because you're focused on sick?
Probably.
1 second, my app just screwed up. I'm gonna roll somewhere else. Oh, there it goes. 14.
14. Okay. So, um, Sonny and Cass, you both see, as you're kind of looking around the area, you see that there was a kind of main road that led to this building that looks like it's mostly overgrown at this point, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be any main paths. You could probably go down that one and see where it leads if you wanted, but it does seem like it hasn't seen heavy use for a while. In the distance, though, you do spot movement around the edge of that kind of barren forest. You notice that there seems to be a lot of movement actually, and it looks like a column of troops of some sort is walking, not towards you, along the kind of border away to the south along this set of trees, and they bear a very very distinctive, I suppose, but it's shiny and it's very saturated, their armor, to the point of this seems more like something you might see in the Feywild just due to the ridiculous colors. The black they are wearing is the blackest black that you have ever seen and seems to absorb light. And they have these sort of silver pauldrons on and these wicked looking spears, and they're in formation marching along this forest in the distance. Uh, Probably a good mile or so away, but due to everything here being so scarred and barren and their armor being so distinct, you're able to make them out in the distance.
We should
Mm,
try and stealthily hide and not interact with the locals just yet.
yeah, maybe not the locals that are looking like they're ready for battle.
Yeah, the Fae are tricksy after all.
um, with my limited knowledge on Fae stuff, could I feasibly see if these are like soldiers associated with a specific court? Because that would be my first idea.
Yeah, once you have them pointed out to you by the other party members, you can easily see them in the distance. Go ahead and roll like a history check for it.
Oof. That's a 5.
Oh, Vander.
Ah!
As you look at them, no, nothing particular comes to mind, but as you're looking at them, you also realize that like the style of armor they're wearing, the way they're marching, and everything else like that, that's probably not one of the actual Fey houses.
Gotcha. Okay.
They don't tend to stand on that sort of ceremony or have that particular kind of armor, as far as you know.
Hmm.
Now,
Um.
here's a question. Does the armor give me similar vibes to a certain suit of armor I saw in a vision previously?
Why, yes, it does.
I think those are Ethets.
All the more reason to hide.
Again, they are not coming towards you. They are in the distance moving south, but they have not seen you yet, as far as you can tell.
Yet is a loaded word, so I'd like to find some shrubbery or a tree or something to just like
Well, you were
be
still
less
in
obvious.
the ruins of this building, so there are parts of it that are more that have survived better than other parts, and there's a couple, intersecting corners of walls. So it'd be easy enough to, move 20, 30 feet, and then there'd be no way that they could see you, and you'd have some cover of the what remains of this building.
Yes, I'd like to go to one of those corners.
Okay.
Okay, it sounds like we're gonna let them pass before we go anywhere. So while that's happening, I'll just examine some of the runes on the structure since we can't leave right now anyway.
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
What'd you get?
Webpage being slow again, so I'm using a different one. 1 second. It's gonna be a 24.
24?
Mm-hmm.
In what languages do you speak?
Common, deep speech, and primordial.
All right, 1 second. I need to check something on my handy dandy party cheat sheet. Okay, so runes wise, there really isn't anything here for the arcane. You do see a lot of runes that led you to believe that they could be arcane, but it looks like there's just different languages in decorative text around some of the pillars here, and it repeats in certain areas, so it might not be that important because it could just be for decoration or something like that, but
Mhm.
you can't read any of it currently.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I'm just trying to get a better sense of like this place and its magics while we're stuck waiting for the column to pass anyway. So once she's done with the runes, if there's still time, she's gonna start like examining some of the lingering spell work.
If you're focused on spell work, I mean, we can just use the same roll for that too, because it would be kind of in the same breath. And she would realize immediately that she wouldn't be able to read it, so she's not going to spend a lot of time waste a lot of time on that. But if you spend some time focusing on the magic, you're immediately going to notice a comparison to the room in the bottom of Aerith's house. And it does look like that some very strong interplanar teleportation magic was here at some point. And this probably was the other end of the see a dog in the background. It was probably the other end of the teleportation site. So you most likely are on target and can confirm that you are on target by messing around with the magics. The devastation around this area does not seem to be linked to the portal that you can tell. So it might have been two separate incidents, but you don't think it blew up on this side.
Yeah, this feels very different from the damage in the basement.
And if any of you are keeping an eye on the column in the back, they'll vanish within another minute or two as they continue south. They technically were already past the runes, but it takes another minute or two for them to vanish. Other than that, it's eerily still and silent. Ow.
I will attempt that sending scroll. Or no, wait. No, I don't. Wait. I don't remember off the top of my head. I didn't write it down whether or not I was given an additional
Yeah.
sending scrolls. Oh, I
Mhm.
was. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that was
I'll
the
go ahead and
plan.
use. Yay!
I was
I'll
going
go
to
ahead and
remind
use
you. I just
one.
wanted to let you stutter a bit.
Oh man, what the?
Ah,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull one out and try sending one to Airlith. I'll say, I'm here. Where are you? Or no, wait, sorry. I'm here at original entrance. Where are you?
Are you identifying yourself?
It's Vander.
It's Vander hurriedly at the end. Feels like the most. Yeah, that's Vander.
it does.
Hey,
That
dear.
feels. Yeah, that feels like Vander. Ray, roll a D100.
Yippee. Okay.
Okay.
How was a 95?
Okay. Huh. My dog licked my leg and scared me because I'm that susceptible to random surprises, apparently. Thanks, Tails. 95 on the D100. As far as you can tell, the spell is successful. And then after a few moments, a very disbelieving voice comes through, and you hear Aerith very clearly go, "You're where?" And just the two words.
God. How many scrolls do I have? 2, 3.
I mean, I think I have 4 more. I don't remember if you got more or
You
not last
had,
time.
I have it written down. You have a total of 4.
Oh yay. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's the one part I didn't write down. Okay. I'll pull out another one. um,
Mom, do you not know how to use cell phones? Fuck.
yeah, but mom, what the heck? What's the best way to describe this?
I mean,
Is
confer.
Vander going to ask for help?
You can confer with your party too. See if they have ideas.
There was a specific phrase that I'm just forgetting is the
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I
Something
will
down
do
the
what
stats.
you suggest. Uh, how would you guys describe this place?
The Feywild end of the portal, it seems to carry the same magic.
I will. Thank you. Yeah, that's actually perfect. For the sending, I'll say your portal entrance in the Feywild. Is the Feywild a one word or
It's usually
two?
one word.
It's you have 25 words, so
Okay.
you got way more if you want.
Yeah.
Maybe you should also say we are projecting and not all the way here.
That's a good point. Ruin. It's building in ruins. Uh, we're astral projecting.
And is that it?
Don't know
Oh,
which way.
no, which way? Okay. Okay. Much longer pause this time. You do have the same feeling that the spell actually was successful. Um, well, that's a relief to hear. I can't believe this. I'm with some friends. I can be there in a few hours.
I don't know if I should use another scroll. Should I use another scroll? I'll
What?
relay what she said, that she can be here in a couple hours, but she didn't really confirm whether or not she's going to.
I mean, if she said that, I think that means that she is coming.
Okay. I guess we could
That's be
stay
my
here then,
interpretation.
and if we can, I can take a look at sick
Right, we can.
or try.
This place seems fairly abandoned. I do not think anyone else will just come wandering by. We just need to keep an eye out to be sure.
Hmm.
If I could, lovely GM, uh, place sick down on like a sheet or something from their packs or whatever, and with the sight that I sort of have where I can see energies and astral stuff, is there anything off about her in that aspect? I know, of course, like she's hurt and mentally and physically, but I ask that because of the strange figure that we saw. Or
Hmm.
yeah.
Um, Easy enough because sick, like most of you, would have a bedroll and other implements in her bag with her, which does get technically replicated in the Fey realm. So you can pull out a bedroll and put it down on the ground and then lay her on it. And then as you examine her, especially using your sort of vision and focusing more on the aura and everything else of her body, of her spirit and stuff, you do notice that it's faint, but it's still there. So, and it looks like it could have some breaks in it, like it almost was shattered or something like that. As far as you can tell right now, she's okay, but she was very close to death or being ripped apart or something else like that. And you notice that it does lean to one side of her astral self slash body, and it leans to her right side as if the strain came from that side, which matches what you remember from what you saw during the actual astral projection spell being cast, because the weird figure was on the right side. So it's a very 1-to-1 ratio sort of thing of she was strained because something happened to this part of the spell and it pulled on her from that side, etc., as you're kind of going through all of this in your head. um, but it looks like she should be okay. It just was probably very damaging, and well, you're not in any danger. So I love the concept of people being able to take 20s when there's no reason to make them make checks and stuff. And considering you're not under threat right now and you're just all chilling out for the foreseeable moment, you can just take a 20 and take extra time examining her. And throughout your examination, if you get close enough to her, which I'm sure you do because you're probably knelt next to her or something like that, you notice a kind of shard in her head. And it looks like a jagged sort of triangle that extends from the tip of her nose up to the left side of her brow. And it looks like it's a piece that's missing, like it's faintly glowing, like it's maybe still there, like it's healing, but you see some massive astral wound right on this part of her spirit, and you're betting that's probably what happened with the trap that she ran into when she tried to send that sending to Matilda. And it does not look happy. Her aura is kind of a light blue, like most auras in general, when you look at them, but that part is lacking of color and is sort of gray or monochrome.
Okay. Hmm. That is definitely good to note for later.
Mhm. So how are you guys going to spend these next couple hours waiting? Because you're in unfamiliar territory. You know that there were hostiles nearby. You have lots of questions. So what's everybody going to be doing during this time? Because you got to the Feywild like you wanted, and you're here. So what are you doing?
I'm going to keep watch for potential hostile beings,
Okay,
or really just anyone approaching, because, like, even if a very nice person comes up, I'd like to be aware of their presence.
makes sense. So anywhere in particular that you were going to try and keep watch?
Is there a way to get, like, on top of the ruins to get, like, an aerial view?
Yeah, if you spend enough time, kind of like Vander's examining Sklea and stuff, you'd be able to poke around a bit and eventually find collapsed portions of the wall that would allow you to climb up to a little bit of what remains of a second floor, barely a corner of the entire building. But you're able to get up there, and you find that there's actually a small stool in a burnt out campfire, like somebody else had this idea at some point. The fire's cold and probably hasn't been used for some time, but you're able to get up there and get a more bird's eye view. And even just the elevation from going up to the second floor, you're able to see how desolate the surrounding area truly is. It does look like foliage has either been spared or popped up in a few places, but it something big happened here at some point. But yes, you're able to get up there and kind of situate yourself to make sure that you're hopefully not surprised by any unwelcome visitors.
Need
Nice.
to make any check for, like, keeping watch?
Nope, not right now. You're just up there and it's daylight, quote unquote, for the Feywild, so you can see everything that there is to see right now. There is not a lot of cover though when you're up there. So it's up to you if you're going to stay up there the whole time, if you're going to try and, stealth yourself in any given way, if you're putting a blanket around your bright armor, etc.
Um, yes, I am going to dull the armor.
Steal the
Uh,
DM's idea.
no, actually, I was thinking about that myself of, like, should I take the armor off? Should I not? And then you were like, blanket, and I was like, that's even better. So I get to keep the armor bonuses. So, like, I was already on that track.
Hmm. Okay.
I was. But then I was like, what if the armor, like, makes me blend into the Feywild more? But we're in a very desolate area, so yeah.
All right. So blanket then.
Yeah.
Okay, so then yeah, you can wrap one of your blankets slash bit of the bedroll around yourself up there, and it helps cut down on the reflectiveness and the brightness of your multicolored armor that you had smithed in Orishire. Sana, you already spent a bit of time looking at uh the runes and then kind of the magics in the area. Are you going to be doing anything else in particular?
Um, Probably ask Vander about how Sick is doing, actually,
Uh,
since I saw him doing his examination.
I actually never really analyzed or like examined her in the way that I can with people because I thought it was like what happened with her was something more not my forte with like the impact of the spell being magical and so it was like an arcane thing, but
Right.
it's very much not. It's actually a wound of the soul.
Oh, that is
Mood.
distressing.
And that's why I think that or it's I think that's why she have been having such a hard time healing and that we couldn't really tell what was going on until I guess just now with what happened. I think, and plus someone is like, I, I'm it's a shot in the dark since I don't really know what's going on there, but I feel like something's attached to her.
Since she tried to reach Matilda, yes.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So right now a piece of her is fractured, and I'm trying to theorize ways I could try and heal, but the healing process that I know for something like this. it's a process and a process, and it takes a lot of time, and it's not something like a healer might put their hands on someone that's injured and just cast a healing spell. This is more involved, and she's not awake, and there's some unknown entity attached to her, so there's a lot of things I just don't know.
No, it's someone set a very, very nasty trap.
Yeah.
No,
Though, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, obviously Sonny's not a healer, but with more information, does anything about this kind of curse or an entity, would there be something that could jog a memory for her here, or like anything she's read or studied?
Um, roll a history check.
That's a 10.
A 10? Not particularly. It just seems to compound or reinforce perhaps the ideas that Sonny already had about what happened with Skalea when she tried to reach Matilda. You know, everybody, especially Sonny, had originally theorized that it was some sort of a trap that was triggered. It definitely seems to follow that profile even more now. And it just seems to have really been designed to kill the person. Um, I think she'd be a little split on if there's an entity with her or if there's a, some other aspect to it. It does seem like it was designed to brutally like murder the person that tried. At least is what you're able to get from it, but not much more than that.
Right.
And Cass, while you're up there and we pass time, go ahead and give me a perception check now for keeping watch since it's been a few minutes.
21.
21. As you're sitting up there, you can hear the conversations below as long as they're not whispering or move away or anything like that. So you can kind of still hear what the two of them are talking about. As you're looking in the distance, though, you spot a bit of movement, and it's not near the tree line where the troops had continued south and then vanished, but to the north, a bit away from the trees, there is a small series of rolling hills. Nothing that big, but enough to distort the horizon. And you see a bit of movement, focus on it, and then notice a figure like slowly plodding um, in the distance. Seems like they're very tall. Not as tall as Vander, but still pretty tall. Probably like in the 7-foot range or something like that. They're wearing, it's hard to tell at this point, but they seem to have like very complicated robes on them that are flowing in the wind, and they're just walking towards you. Still very extreme distance.
Can I tell if this is like a furbolg or like
Not
some more
not right now,
humanoid?
due to I mean, you can tell that they're a bipedal humanoid based on the way the cloak's moving and they're walking.
Hey guys, we may have company coming in. So we should be prepared for this.
Is it
I'm gonna.
my mom?
Is it my mom?
I Is your
Mama?
mom like 7 feet tall?
Damn, is she? I don't know.
I mean, I would think not based on the fact that we saw half of her.
Is
Yeah,
Fulmar
Fulmar.
6 to 7 feet tall?
No, Fulmar is like five. Fulmar and they're thankfully they were the similar heights, but one Fulmar's head actually was like slightly higher on that side by like an inch or so. Um, I think Aerith's height is like 5'6", 5'7". She's taller than Skalea, but she's still on the shorter side.
Okay.
At least when we're talking with 9-foot fucking full furbolgs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big.
They're
He.
big.
Okay. Um, do you see any defining features at all? Like hair color or
They seem to be in some like fancy ass robes. But otherwise they're just kind of a blob of fancy tallness.
should
Let's keep an
we
eye on
I
them.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let's keep an eye on them and see if they are, coming towards us or just heading the same direction.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I would like to get down. Um like up on my perch, but like down to the floor, like kind of hidden under my blanket, to
We're
be
going
more
Metal
like
Gear.
blended into
Metal Gear, get a box and stuff. Yeah.
like army crawl along.
Okay.
So that way, like I hopefully blend more into the rune
Okay. And you're
and
just
can
gonna
like
keep
keep
watching
watching
them?
this person. Yep.
Okay. They're walking at a steady pace. It doesn't seem like they're hurried by any means. Um, and they just keep heading directly towards you guys. So at the pace that they're walking, it's probably going to take a good 10 minutes plus to get to you because you saw them at extreme distance. But they're heading towards you. So are you guys doing anything else to prepare during this time, or you're just waiting for your scout to tell you more information?
I'm waiting for more information, but I don't exactly need a lot of time to repair anything.
Point.
Same here for at least waiting on information.
Okay. Um, Go ahead and make another perception check while you're up there, Cass.
Even better. That was a 22.
Nice. So as you're watching, um, they draw closer and closer, and eventually you make out very refined features as far as you can tell, including a somewhat dark purplish skin. They have this flowing sort of orange hair that seems to go down past their waist. That's pulled like into a short ponytail, and then spills down their back afterwards. Talking is hard today. Um, and as they draw closer, we'll say probably like 5 minutes away from you, they don't seem to notice you. They're not looking directly at you. They're just kind of looking at the structure that you're all in. You see them um, reach a hand towards the ground, and in a very distinct way that you haven't seen in a little while, rips a spear up out of the ground and grabs it, and then walks with it with next to their side.
Oh,
Fuck, guys. We 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 have another Eladrin. Uh and they just ripped a spear out of the ground. So we have like a Matilda's type situation, only they don't seem as cute and bubbly as her.
Sonny, what does the person that hurt Matilda look like? Maybe that description might help figure out who this
It's
is.
not
If
an Eladrin. It's like an older human.
okay,
Oh,
Yeah, they're
you're
purple
better.
and orange.
a little bit better. I won't say. I won't lie.
Should we
uh,
maybe like preempt this and be like, hello, fellow traveler, so we don't seem suspicious?
uh, that's an option. I don't like to hurt people that are just kind of
I,
investigating something.
I'm
I don't know.
curious what drew them here in the first place, actually.
I'm assuming the teleportate or the astral projection was did some sort of residual energy around the location. Maybe they saw that or something.
I could
Maybe.
try
I don't know.
I could try and
Would
be
any
charming and talk to them if you would like me to get up close.
um
Let us assume this is something that we can try to de-escalate and just be ready in case it is not.
Okay.
I agree.
Um, so I'll slide off my wall. And now in full color and flamboyancy and just being like, hello, I am adorable. I'm going to start approaching that way, looking as much as possible like calm, friendly, not threatening. My battle axe will even be like down in a not ready position.
But you're holding
And I'll
it.
be like, yes, I am holding it.
Okay.
It is my emotional support battle axe.
Okay.
Um, but it's going to be in a relaxed way.
Okay.
In the same way, they're just casually carrying a spear.
Yep.
You know,
Okay.
just kind of casually walking around with your axe over your shoulder.
How far out are you going from the runes?
Just a little way to be like, "Hello, you're noticed," but, like, not gonna get up in their business.
Okay.
I
Um,
just be like, "Go ahead."
Sonny will back her up.
are you going with her?
Like, not like walking like abreast with her, but like, nearby. Just
Okay. The figure keeps walking. You're pretty much intercepting them, so they haven't changed course, but they're, they're within earshot at this point. So what were you going to call out to him, Cass?
As I said, I'll be like, "Hello, fellow traveler. Good greetings. Fair greetings."
excellent
Good
work,
greetings
Cass.
indeed.
Good greetings.
That was sense. Listen, I'm tired today and my head's
Yeah.
full of
How's
chocolate.
it feel? How's it feel?
Goodness gracious.
I don't know why this is a competition.
Tired competition.
I'm getting an energy drink right now.
No, I wasn't talking about being tired. I was talking about being made fun of for the things coming out of your mouth and during D&D because
Oh,
of all the things that had happened to me. That
watch
was the
out, you're
joke.
gonna be next again.
Anyway,
See, we're trying to de-escalate the situation, right?
uh, yeah.
Like
The
this
guy,
was going to be a friendly encounter, but now roll for initiative.
the guy teleports into where Vander is. No. um, they continue walking towards you. The spear is held at the side. You do get a very Matilda vibe in general from this gentleman, just based on the way that he carries himself, his appearance, and the sort of very intricate robes that he is wearing. Um, and his face is somewhat neutral. But as he approaches and hears you call out, he kind of cocks a head to one side and he proceeds about 50 more feet or so and then stops and plants the spear into the ground next to himself and releases it and folds his hands in front of him as he looks over you and kind of squints into the distance and can see you're not hiding, right, Sonny? He can see you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just
Okay.
like not walking like immediately next to her like we're looking for a fight, just kind of hanging out.
Okay. So looks at Cass, looks at Sonny, and then looks at the runes exactly where Vander is with Skalea. Though Vander, unless you're peeking out, you don't see this, but you two notice it like he seems fixated on where Vander is, at least with a glance for the moment. Um, and he calls out and goes, "Are you friends of Ravino?"
You you know that name?
You know that?
I am very familiar with that name.
May we know who you are?
I don't know if that really matters in this moment, but let's just say I'm one of the Ravinos.
And kind of Sonic kind of looks at the spear and like, you are you her brother?
Oh, she told you about me, did she?
She mentioned you a couple times, yes.
And what did dear sister say?
That you are an inquisitor of the court.
I still am.
And that she felt she had to try to do a few things because no one else was.
Hmm. I'm sure she would say it like that. I consider her a traitor, as so the court considers her.
I imagine the situation gets complicated, yes.
You could say that. I'm here because of the tracking spell on one of the individuals that you traveled here with. Apparently, you've been trying to make contact with her since she vanished, and one of you stumbled into a trap, and I want that individual for questioning.
Yeah, we can't
You can't
do
what?
that.
She had nothing
We
to do
can't.
with it. We just
She
she was
contacted
asked for her
Matilda, though.
she was asked for assistance. She was not involved.
Ah, I see. So all of you were seeking Matilda then.
Actually not here for her.
Wait, what did you say?
Said we're not here for her.
Oh, well, who are you here for then, if it's not dear sister?
I just a friend who got kind of lost in the way.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so we're just hanging out, waiting for them to come meet up with us. But yeah, not here on your family business.
We didn't even know if she was here. I have
Oh,
not. We none of us have heard from her in months.
I
I
have
mean,
no
we're
idea.
casual. We're super casual acquaintances. So like, it's fine.
Mm. Casual acquaintances, you say?
Extremely.
Ah,
Mm.
well,
Sonny's
sounds
just Sonny can't lie. I'm just gonna kind of like look away for a minute there.
Tell me.
sounds like just a pleasant vacation in the Feywild, then, doesn't it?
I mean, it's been a very nice. How long have we been here? Like an hour?
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a nice hour.
Look,
Not quite what I was expecting.
it rarely is. Look, none of you really seem to know what's going on here or the gravity of the situation. I just need the individual that triggered the spell that tried to contact Matilda, and then my duty is met, and I will take them away for questioning, and you can go about your little Fey vacation. And I would consider my demand carefully, and considering the fact that as an Inquisitor, I'm sure I could dispatch all of you quite quickly and take them myself.
Yeah, see, we kind of need her. She's sort of an important member of our group, so that would be
I'm sure
really
you can find a replacement at some local swill tavern.
no.
How
All
far
right.
away is this? Can I hear this?
Considering that it's still with no forest noise, wind, or anything, it's happening about 100 feet or so away, but he's projecting his voice too, so yeah, I'm gonna say that you probably can hear it.
Okay. Not doing anything just yet, but
Okay.
Is there any other way we could provide assistance to you or help fulfill your duty without handing over our friend?
Oh, most assuredly. Hand me Matilda or Matilda's location from my master, and I would not give two rats' asses about whoever triggered the spell in your possession.
We don't know where she is,
Well, that's unfortunate then,
and you
because
won't get anything from her. As I'm telling you, she was not involved with Matilda at all.
hmm,
Never met.
maybe. But my master still wants to inspect her mind and make sure that there's no sliver of information in it that would help us locate Matilda.
See, her mind is a little fried at the moment. So,
I can
like, you're not
imagine.
gonna get anything.
She should not have survived the spell that she encountered, which is another reason my master is quite curious about this individual.
What spell did she encounter?
Are you asking him?
Yes.
Oh, it's a very clever trap created by my master that is quite costly to employ, but it's meant to brutally destroy the mind of anyone that tries to contact an individual. Sadly, we were only able to cast one of these on Matilda before she vanished, but it ensured whoever next tried to contact her would die a most horrible and painful death, and then we would be able to use what was left of their shattered body to hopefully have some clues to where Matilda is.
Hmm. So, I mean, never mind. I followed where that sentence had gone. Uh, yeah, we can't abide by that, and like we're not planning to be here very long. So I think you would just be a better off like continuing your search organically and like seeing how those things go.
Hmm. I think you all would have done much better here in the Feywild if you had come 50 years or so ago. They would have a different taste for your sort of whimsy and trying to wriggle out of situations, but I sadly do not possess said whimsy anymore. I am going to take them. You can give them to me, or I can go get them by going through you.
You really can't come to any other agreement.
Considering that I must do my master's bidding, no. Well, like
Okay.
I said, there is, give me Matilda herself or her location, and that would be a suitable alternative. But it doesn't sound like that is an alternative that you're ready to provide.
Tawny, I think we just need to tell him where Matilda is.
And Sonya's going to look distressed, and it's distressed because she has no idea what the hell Cass is thinking here, but also it's just... I'm
Hold
sure
on, I'm trying to pull up a
it's
map.
inadvertently helping.
Pull up the map. I'm waiting to hear. We're both waiting to hear this story.
Well, Cass?
Okay. You know, I'm just gonna go with the place that I know. Matilda has sought refuge on the material plane in Treetop, hanging out within. Yeah, I know. She's been hanging out with the. Okay, Cass is saying this super clearly. This is Jillian trying to piece
Okay.
everything together. With like the Malavander royal family.
Yes.
Oh, the coup.
God.
Malavander is Vander's family, but yes.
So yeah, the coup that
Yeah.
overthrew the Malavanders. That's what
Okay.
you're going for.
Okay.
Yes. So last we know, she was there. There's been some political turmoil. She thought that would be a good place to return to. But she wanted to keep that secret, so people couldn't come look for her. But that is where she is.
And Sonya's just staring at Cass, completely aghast in the situation. Like, I don't know what to do. Oh my god, what are you doing?
So
What do I do
Sani's
with
not
my
going to be
hands?
Sani's not going to be helping with this effort then.
But she's also not hurting it and just staring in like utter like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Okay, roll
Like,
I'm trying to
deception,
outweigh the pain.
Cass.
like I said, it might inadvertently be helping Cass because and she's not giving any clues to what she's aghast about.
Yep. If you have any bonuses to that, deception roll, you might want to use it.
That would be a 19.
A
Nice.
19.
Wait, hold on. Do I have any feats or stuff that would help me?
I mean, other than just good charisma.
I mean, my charisma's pretty good.
So no bonus.
I don't think there's anything I could do that wouldn't be like trying to sneak in a guidance spell or something, but then at that point it's like, yeah, there's no way I can do that discreetly.
No, considering how out of it you are at
And
this point.
Yeah, because Sonny's just like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Like, oh
yeah,
my god, girl.
yep, 19.
19? Okay. So this individual of the Ravino family squints with a large amount of disbelief at you as you spin this tale and leans back ever so slightly, shifting so they can lean onto the spear in a weird facsimile of kind of what Matilda had done at one point. Really, treetop.
Yeah, treat her up.
And how do you know this? Did she talk to you at some point?
Yeah, okay, we weren't casual acquaintances. We hung out for a while. We're pretty friendly. And actually, we are here with one of the Malavanders. And so he told her of the concern. Um, and like she had already been picking up some unwanted attention, so she was like, "Listen, I can go get involved with that." And like my family's from treetop, and we have a lot of connections. So it was like she could go hide for a bit. She might be able to help some family. It was a win-win situation.
Okay. Roll another deception check.
I mean, most of that was true. Not 20.
It's
Nice.
nat 20?
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
For a total of, wait, hold on, what's it a total of? Why did I just X out my character sheet? 23.
Thankfully, he has talent that negates nat 20 still. He still looks like he doesn't fully believe you, but he continues to lean against the spear and starts to chew like the inside of his cheek a little bit as he ponders your words as you continue to go on weaving this tale. And then he glances over at the dumbfounded shark and kind of tilts his head and then indicates his head towards Cass. Is everything that she's saying the truth, or is she lying?
Hmm. I think at this point, Sonny's brain is finally caught up with what the fuck's going on here. And
Just took a second to.
I think she just kind of looks at Cass instead of at the Inquisitor. And just kind of does her best to channel a little bit of Kree energy.
Oh,
And
Kree.
just like, okay, what would Kree do? What would Kree do? Oh, and then she's going to just get mad at Cass. Like, how could you sell her out like that?
I It's saving Matilda or saving Sick, and Sick is in more need now. Matilda can take care of herself, and like she really started all of this. So like I'm gonna side with Sick here and protect her life.
Do you want me to roll or?
No, you not when you're talking to Cass. So, are
Okay.
you going to do anything else to keep it up?
I think it's just like, how dare you? And just kind of like actually walk up and like all, 5'2", maybe doesn't even weigh 100 pounds of Sonny trying to shove Cass over.
Oh my god!
Being completely physically moved by this. I'm just gonna put my hand on Sonny's shoulder and be like, I know you take your promises to her very seriously. And as a paladin, I do appreciate the severity of an oath. But right now, we have to protect Sick.
I didn't swear any oaths, says Cass.
Technically, I did not.
He's just watching this play out, and he's got a bit of a smile on his face at this point.
Back to him. Hand still on Sonny's shoulder. So yeah, that would be your best bet, would be to start in Treetop. Um, and hopefully you can find her there.
Sonny might be channeling Kree a little too well and tries to slap Cass.
I'll actually give you that one.
Just crack. His eyebrows go up a little bit. I see she's keeping the most intelligent sort of company these days. Well, we hadn't considered Treetop in any of our efforts so far, and your story is convincing if ridiculously delivered.
When we
It
hang out
will,
with bards a little too much, it rubs off.
I can tell. I will give you a stay for now, long enough for me to vet this information on Treetop. So Who knows how long that could be? It could be hours, it could be days. Once I know for sure, though, if she's there, you're never probably going to hear from me again. But if she's not there, especially if you're in my domain, I'm going to track you and your little scarred friend down and finish this. But for now, you can live for the rest of the night at least. And he stands up and yanks the spear out of the ground, and you just watch it kind of evaporate. And he just glares at you two, and then sends a long glare at where Skalea and Vander are, and then turns around and starts walking back in the direction that he came.
As he starts turning, Sonny like wipes at her eyes. It's like, why do you serve her?
He stops, looks over his shoulder a bit. What do you mean?
Why? Why do you let this woman twist your court like this?
Because it was this or die. And she's pretty convincing to those of us that fought back. And she changed my mind.
How?
Endless amounts of pain. And marring the land, slaughtering others. Let's just say that she has her ways, but it was a better faith than all the other ones laid out before me, so I continued my inquisitorial duties for a new ruler. It's not that surprising. Rains fall and rise all the time. She's just the latest.
I see.
It'd be wise to avoid her. And us. Unless anything else is said, he turns and continues to walk.
I'll just turn Sonny back towards the ruins and be like, "Come on, you'll get over this in a couple days."
So you guys make your way back to the ruins where Vander still is with Skalea and can kind of duck inside after that encounter to see. I'm very curious to what the reaction Vander has to that whole thing. If he's just sitting there giving them bewildered looks.
The moment that the brother, the Inquisitor, would look back, if he was searching for Vander's gaze,
He was.
uh, there was a very intense glare looking right back at him.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, he would have held that for a brief moment and like held the stare and then slowly turned away as he walked away. So you would have locked eyes with him at least.
And that's all Vander will really have outwardly made obvious.
Okay. So when they both walk back in, Vander's kind of standing there,
He's sitting, but
sitting.
yeah.
Okay.
I hope we never see him again.
Okay.
I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think he was telling the truth?
About why he's serving?
I No, I meant about the spell only working once.
Don't know why he would lie about that. But we are in the Feywild. So I wouldn't necessarily want to test it.
Then you don't have to.
I'm sorry, are you about to test it?
Not now.
If you
I
decided to
mean,
do that, we definitely need to put some safety measures
It
just to make
wouldn't
sure.
matter now. This is the wrong plane.
Yeah, when we get back.
Well, I mean, you know that you can send sending interplanally. There's a 5% chance that it will fail, but you know
There's
you can
also just a
send.
lot of stuff going on right now, so if he was
Yeah,
lying, it's a bad
yeah.
time to do it.
Nope, that's fair. Just wanted to remind.
I mean, I personally would like to see your head not turn into soup. Um,
Skalea's laying there in the bed. Oh.
We got some soup right here.
listen, it'll be really awkward when we find Matilda and we're like, So we found you, but Sonny died trying to contact you, and like that would just be really unfortunate.
Yeah,
And
almost
is
like
not
that
the
was
happy
probably
ending we were
intended.
going for. Pipe down, DM, you're not part of this.
Uh,
It's also possible that he lied in order to try and get people to send more sending spells to her.
it's possible, but I spoke with Ethet briefly in one of those visions, and if that was truly speaking with her and not just seeing something my gods wanted me to understand, then, well, she is aware that I have a connection, and leaving one nasty surprise to get somebody very dear to someone, that feels very much like a thing she would do from what little I know of her.
Hopefully she's
Well,
safe, Matilda, I mean.
And they are still looking for her, so that helps.
That means they don't have her. So that's
Exactly.
definitely a good sign.
How long has it been since the initial search from the sending of the mother?
of the mother.
Of the
When
mother.
of the mother. When you got here, it's total about 2 hours at this point. So the sun, quote unquote, the sun facsimile, is is pretty high in the sky, and you don't know how much longer it's going to take if Aerith actually is going to arrive at this point. So,
Gotcha.
are you guys going to keep status quo and Cass is going to go back to watch and just wait, or are you going to talk or do anything else in the time?
Well, Vander has nothing to really discuss, but he would offer to do watch if
Okay.
desired.
Using the same
I mean,
spot that Cass had,
Yeah, sure.
or what were you going to say, Cass?
well, Vander, if you just want to stay with Sick and keep an eye on her, I'm happy to continue watch.
I'm cool with either. But if you want to keep watch, okay.
Yeah, go back to keeping watch.
Okay. So Cass is going to be keeping watch for a while. Vander is. Are you sitting just next to her while she's sprawled out on a bedroll?
Pretty much.
Okay. And Sani.
Yeah, Sonny's just kind of. I don't think she can quite sit still with some of the new information that everyone's gotten, but she's definitely just kind of trying to be unobtrusive.
Okay. So standing, leaning against the wall, wandering around, sort of thing. A little bit.
Yeah, just kind of helping keep an eye out if anything, but she can't really just sit still right this second.
Okay. Let me roll some dice really quick. So as the hours tick on, you notice that some of the things that Skalea said would happen, such as you don't really have a sense of hunger or anything, and you're not really getting tired at the rate that you think you normally would. It just kind of feels like you're in this pleasant yet odd stasis, being here astrally projected. Um, the casts in the distance, you'll see travelers come and go. You have no idea who they are. They're at extreme distance. They could be more soldiers, they could be inquisitors, they could be denizens of the Fae, different kinds of denizens of the Fae realm, but they're bipedal humans, and you see them humanoid figures, and you see them moving in the distance, but nobody ever really comes anywhere near or towards you again after the Inquisitor did. Um, while you're sitting next to Sick, one point pretty shortly after the unwelcomed visit, she rolls over to onto her side and seems like she's breathing much slower, far easier, like she's just actually just asleep. A sound that you're quite familiar with at this point from the ship. And she rolls over towards you and kind of lazily slash clumsily throws an arm over like one of your legs or something like that, or whatever part of you that she could. Um, doesn't wake up if prompted, still very much out, but she at least seems to be doing better.
Good.
And as time continually ticks on, the sun gets lower, the facsimile of the sun gets lower in the sky, and eventually you were treated to the Feywild at night, which as the sun dips away, there is no moon here. There are sort of star-like pinpoints in the sky, but the sky is mostly consumed by an aurora borealis sort of effect that has beautiful purples, greens, blues, bit of orange in there as well, and it just kind of lazily fills the sky from the horizon upwards to the peak, and it's quite beautiful, and it casts a decent amount of light, so it's almost like you're out under moonlight, but the colors are sort of shifting um, throughout the evening. You're still not tired, by the way, as this is happening. Um, no sign yet of Aerith or any other visitors. Is there anything that you are all going to do in the evening, or you're just going to keep doing status quo? Anything else?
Vander won't be doing anything.
Okay. Cassani?
Mm,
Uh, probably check with Vander, see if he wants to send another message or not.
Oh, good point. Yeah. He'll upon Sani's very good suggestion, he'll take out his last scroll or his second to last scroll
Yeah.
and address his mom. Estimated time of arrival? or or how far away are you?
Um, small delay. Response eventually comes, though. Uh, we should be there in about 10 minutes or so. We think we already have you sighted in the distance. There was a report of an inquisitor nearby. Hope you're keeping safe.
He will jump up in excitement or this is like in general very eager to just be up and relay that they're coming in 10 minutes. They? So I think her friends are coming
It
too?
sounded like she has associates, yes.
it's nice.
Yeah.
I'll keep an extra elf eye out for his mom.
Roll a perception check.
And if they are worried about the Inquisitor, that is probably a good sign.
That's a dirty
Yeah.
20.
Nice.
Okay. Nothing, no movement as far as you can see. Your vision is less now at night, but it's still lit up enough out here that you're able to have a decent amount, and you're pretty confident that you don't see anything. Um, the next 10 minutes tick away very slowly, especially for Vander, as you all wait here in these strange alien ruins. And the first thing that breaks the silence or alerts you to anyone nearby is the gentle sound, the somewhat gentle sound of magic being cast, a very familiar spell to some of you. And you're, as soon as you all hear it, you'll recognize what the spell is, but you hear a gentle as Misty Step is ended in your proximity, and with faint kind of purple puffs of smoke, um, 10 individuals quickly surround you, and some are up on the walls, some are on the ground. One is standing kind of next to Cass, just looking down at her, and if you were sitting, or standing next to you and just looking at you. All of these individuals are armored, with sort of padded armor slash different kinds of leathers and cloths that are tightly wrapped and wrapped and
Found.
bound. Whatever, I can't. My brain wrapped around themselves, I guess is what I was trying to say. My brain just went woo. This different materials wrapped around themselves, and they seem like they have everything from long swords to rapiers to bows. Two of them have staves at the ready with crossbows on their hips. And they teleport in non-threatening statures with like either their hands clasped, their arms crossed, or in some kind of a other casual pose. And they're all looking at each one of you like the person they teleport the nearest to, sort of thing. And they all have masks up over half of their face of the same material that they're do I even need to look in that mythical family chat? Okay. I thought people were sending memes. They were. Um they have the half of their face covered with the same materials that they're wearing. And they all just sort of look at you, look at each other, glance around. There's a rough voice, and one of them points at Vander and goes, Vander, I assume?
Uh, yes.
Right, the Inquisitor isn't here. We didn't see anything, but the Inquisitor didn't harm you or come into your camp, did he?
He did not come into the camp. He persuaded him to leave.
All right. Just a moment. You see him put a hand like on the side of his cheek, and he has a bit of copper wire that he puts near his ear, and he whispers under his breath. And moments later, Vander, make a dex saving throw.
Oh Jesus. Oh hey, cool. I got a nat 20, a 23.
Oh, there you go.
You avoid a fireball.
Yes.
Fireball.
How dare you? No. You hear another as another misty step goes off, and this one is actually like 3 feet off the ground. Same color and everything. It's in front of you, and you feel about 170 pounds slam into you as your mother Misty steps in and apparently did a leaping Misty step from whatever surface she had been on out in the forest, observing you from a distance, and slams into you with her full weight, which isn't much, and you're able to keep your feet and maybe sliding back just a couple inches or so. And she wraps you in a bear hug. You think that Folsom gave you a bear hug. You would be wrong. This woman tries to crush your fucking ribs as you quickly feel tears soaking into your clothing and fur on your chest as she squeezes you and squeezes you and squeezes you. And you can tell that she's already shaking slightly. She, just from what you can see looking down, is wearing the exact same garb everybody else is, maybe a bit more covered in dirt and grime than some of the others. And when she eventually tears her face away from her chest to look up at you with a massive toothy grin, she is, as expected, the opposite of Folsom. So the left half is uh elven and the other half is porcelain. Um she definitely looks like she's seen some struggle since you last saw her due to the crow's feet that have expanded under her eyes and kind of the wrinkles on her face, but she still possesses the same elvish beauty that she did before, just a little bit further along in her life and having dealt with some other struggles. And she just smiles up at you as her eyes fill with tears and she croaks out, I never thought I'd see you again.
Bender is very overjoyed, of course, naturally. He's trying his best because he's kind of choked up. But there's been so many stimuli and so many things going on, especially with that Inquisitor, that's definitely made this moment a little less pleasant than he would have hoped it to be.
Yeah.
But
And
of course, he's so
she
happy to see her.
and she can tell from his facial expressions alone, and she has to push herself up onto her tiptoes, but tiptoes plus arm length, she can reach up and like gently caress the side of his cheek and just continues to beam at him, and with the most proud sort of eyes and expression that she can muster. And then after sniffing again for a moment to get her tears under control, she steps back and like splays her arms out like, look at you, and she like looks up and down at you and side to side and immediately focuses on the porcelain arms and kind of inspects them. And she's trying to talk around like the choked up voice. You look so good. Are you okay? Has life treated you well?
I would say so. Yeah, I've missed you so much.
I've missed you too. I assume you talked to Folsom before you came here.
Yes, Folsom is very nice.
Good, I'm glad. uh, I had this whole very elegant speech planned where I was going to apologize for everything that had happened in leaving you, and it's been a lifetime since I've been on the material planes, slash, since I've seen you. So I hope that they prepared you a little bit for what had happened, and I'm able to tell you much more now, I'm sure, but I hope you know that I did not abandon you willingly.
I never believed that you did for a second.
A massive amount of relief seems to spill over her at that moment, and she just kind of slumps for a second, and you hear some faint chuckles, like in a very good natured way. Like nobody's laughing at her by any means, but you hear some sounds from the individuals surrounding you all that seem like they're happy to hear that, and they probably had a bit of worry and trepidatiousness going into this as well, because they probably heard about you and they probably know the situation that they were all walking into to some extent. Um, But she looks relieved and slumps a bit and walks over and just leans her head against your chest again and gives you a much softer hug this time and goes, I'm just so happy to see you. And it seems like you've come with friends. Are these friends of yours or
Yes, these are all my friends. This is Cass and Sani, and then the one behind me, she's not doing great right now.
she nods at Cass and nods at Sonny with a very appreciative smile on her face and a faint whispered greeting. And when her eyes cross over the sprawled out, still slightly bloody elf, I'm sure it was cleaned up for the most part, but the the elf on the mat, she tilts her head and like looks aghast and goes, "Did the Inquisitor engage you?"
No, I. We were. We came here through a projection, and she's the one who cast the spell, but there was something attached to her, and it interfered, and that is how the Inquisitor was able to know we were here.
Her
Some
spirit is cracked.
Her spirit is cracked
It's missing a piece.
from the
Yeah.
act of bringing you here.
No, I think it is from the curse she was under.
That is a horrible fate for the poor thing to undergo. Has she not regained consciousness in the time that you've been here?
No.
She was awake for a minute or two when we first arrived, and then she's been out since.
Hmm, it must be some very complicated damage then, especially if Vander, I'm assuming you saw that with her aura.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. I can probably help her along the healing path as you've taught me, but she would have to be awake.
She smiles a bit, and it's that sort of proud mother smile yet again of hearing that Vander, mentions her teachings and definitely seems like he's been following in those footsteps. Well, you're right. It would be much better if she was awake for it, but we might be able to do something even in this rune, the two of us together. But before we do that, I assume she's been stable for until now.
Yeah.
Then we still have some. I don't think it's a matter of life or death, but um, we will do something to help her. I wanted to ask you why you came here, but obviously you came to help me or find me.
I wanted to try and bring you home.
No one on the other side knew what your condition really was in any detail, so we figured, well, if we project over here, maybe we can at least find something out.
That's so kind. Thank you, my dear child. I have tried to get word back to Fulmar and the others multiple times, and I assume some of my messages have got through based on the ones that I've received, but yeah, I've never been able to truly communicate with them in any substantial way. So I'm sure they have been worried sick about me, as you and others have. I'm all right. And she kind of like splays her arms out to show that she's in one piece. And she pulls her mask down, and pulls her hood off. Um, as far as I can be all right for the state of being that I'm in right now, but I've adapted to it. I am quite involved in the plot, in the in the
In the play. Hey, baby.
shut up, right? um, yeah, I'm quite involved in the politics of the Feywild ever since my arrival, and I've become somewhat of a member of the local resistance. And she nods to the fellow quiet individuals that have surrounded the ruins with you all in it. Most of them have sat down or leaned against a wall at this point, and it was obvious since they misty stepped in that they weren't going to be a threat, but they've just continued to relax their posture ever since. I don't think I can really leave right now is the problem.
If
I
You
would
fight
love.
against a threat.
I do, and she is. I thought I knew horrible creatures in my time in my life, and I did know many horrible creatures, but she is remarkably powerful and evil, and she has corrupted. Our latest estimates are around 80% of the Feywild. Most of the innate magic of the realm has vanished, and its peoples have suffered greatly at her hand, either dying or being twisted into her service, and then a select few fighting back. I was teleported here when we were trying to disrupt the Fey King that was manipulating and controlling my family for so many generations. And in that fight, we were able to kill him and strike him down. But as a last act, he unleashed a spell that destroyed the portals connecting our two worlds, and the magic ripped both Fulmar and myself apart. And we were lucky, I suppose, to be recombined into these versions of ourselves. But it caused an immense damage on this side. I have no idea what it did to the estate, but it caused immense damage on this side, and I was the only survivor in the immediate area, and I spent quite some time wandering in the forest, uh, restoring my health and figuring out where I was. And eventually, I came across some of these fine individuals who were not freedom fighters at the time, and they took me into their village and helped me recuperate. And I started to set my sights on finding a way back to Akora. But once her reign became evident and started to spread, I had to use my training and my knowledge to help everyone that I could, and we hadn't made much progress on getting me back. It's not that I haven't always looked for an opportunity, it's just things shifted, priorities shifted, and I didn't have an easy way back, and these people needed help, so I had to help them. And even now, we still fight against the Inquisitors and their so-called queen.
Perhaps we could help somehow. We have personal ties to the stuff that she has been doing.
What do you mean?
The Inquisitor came here to take sick the lady right here.
The tracking curse that was placed on Skalea.
The Inquisitor was after her?
After her because of the curse, she's not actually involved. I'm the one who asked her to cast it because we were trying to reach Matilda Ravino.
Ah, a member of the royal, or not royal family, but member of that family?
Yes, she's been living on Akara, and she disappeared, and we were trying to find her.
Hmm. That's an interesting development. If it's a tracking spell or has a tracking component, then hmm. You said you examined her, Vander?
Yeah, but in my astral sight, what I can see, and when we were doing the spell, there was something attached to her, like a person, a silhouette in the darkness.
Interesting. And she just kind of ponders for a moment, looking down at the body of Skalea, and then she looks up and barks out a couple cryptic commands in a thieves' cant like message to some of the individuals that Misty stepped in with her. And you watch them go, and most of them vanish, and they're most likely being sent to keep a larger perimeter or keep an eye on things. One of them, the first one that teleported in, stays near you all, but still gives you some space and moves off to a wall to kind of look out into the dark, empty plains around you, as if keeping watch. Well, can't say that I'm familiar with this tool of the Inquisitors, though I am familiar with some. But if you don't mind, I'll take a look at her right now and see what I can discern.
Of course. And he'll step out of the way.
She walks over and she's wearing she's wearing pants technically because they're all this wrap material, but she also has extra material that kind of forms a half skirt, and she picks that up a little bit to kneel down next to Skalea. And she first reaches over and sticks 2 fingers underneath her jaw and like feels for a pulse, and then gently kind of like cups her cheek in her hand, seems to be like listening for her breath and other things. And she sits down and crosses her legs and puts both her hands on Skalea's cheeks and slowly closes her eyes and starts to hum a very soft tune that you haven't heard in a long time, Vander, which is kind of a tune that she uses to meditate and focus when she needs to. And she often used it as like a calming sort of thing to do to anybody that was in distress around her. And she just cups Six Face and kind of rocks back and forth there for the next few moments as she begins to meditate and probably do the same thing that you were doing while trying to look at her aura. Are you standing nearby? What are you doing while this happens?
He would probably be like next to both of them, but out of the way, of course.
Okay.
Sitting,
So
probably watching.
like on the other side then or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Um you'll, even without trying to look astrally or using any of your abilities that you've been trained on, you kind of see a faint glow around both of them, and you can tell that your mother is using her astral abilities to inspect the wound and possibly even offer some sort of healing. And as she does this, I know it's not, no, it's not slightly early. It's 9:08. We're gonna go ahead and take our break really quick. Normally we like to leave our studio mics on so we can chat with the audience and do all kinds of cool stuff. But since we're remote, I think probably be easier just to mute the mics for tonight. But we're gonna go ahead and take a quick 5-10 minute break, let everybody get up, stretch their legs, get snacks. You should do the same. And then we'll be back for the last hour-ish of Prismatic Dragonfly Tavern. And hopefully next week we'll be in the studio so you can see all of their lovely faces and just not the DM. But we'll go ahead and take that break. We'll be back in 5-10 minutes, and we'll pick up with seeing if Aerith can find anything out about what's happening to Skalea right now. So we'll be right back. And I'm going to keep an eye on the screen to make sure we actually transition to the break screen.
Licking her? Whoa!
That's what I heard.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah, I didn't say that. My words slurred
Consent,
together.
consent.
Harassment.
my my words slurred together.
And
Sure
now
they
this
did.
is no longer a safe space.
That's what they
Ah.
all say. Who said I didn't consent to it? You don't know.
That's why
Now
you need clarity on the topic
Point.
first.
Point. Okay. No, I was laughing literally because it is
You're
past.
alive, right?
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go under here and goodbye. Wait, was the whole
Welcome.
thing with Ray live too?
Yeah, I'm looking at her. I'm looking at her. I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Well, now that we have that on the official record of things that Kira has consented to and things that have happened on stream apparently, I had no ear back. Hi everybody. But the reason that I laughed and started that whole thing is because I'm I'm Pavloved at this point into when Riva, Joe, or anybody says that we're going live. I just start laughing because I think I'm going to say something ridiculous, or I get overwhelmed with thinking of all the other funny times. So it's pretty difficult at this point for people to tell me that the cameras are going on without me just spontaneously laughing, and it's an issue. So that's what was happening there. Anyway, hi, we're break, and we're gonna go ahead and pick up right where we left off. If the DM can focus for yes, continue the Mort's watching.
Yes, yes, he is.
Oh, did you miss the announcement earlier on that
Oh.
Mort the Dane was here?
Yeah, I did. Why
Hi,
did
Mort.
he have to? Hi, Mort. Why?
It literally pinged because it was the first time he'd said anything in chat.
Yeah, you. Hi to you too, you Danish bastard. I'm gonna blame the fact that the DM is not feeling well and is under the weather right now and is very loopy for all of this. This is all a fever dream, so it doesn't count.
That's most fitting
There,
for
I
the
sent you the
Feywild.
evidence.
I'm so happy you were here for this too, Betty. So, serious roleplay going on.
In the Feywild.
Whew, in the Feymile. Yeah, in the Feywild, yes. Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. As I try to put the fuck together.
You're okay.
Am I though?
Yeah.
Aerith. Aerith was sitting next to the very unconscious astrally projected Skelea, trying her best to ascertain what sort of wound she had sustained some time ago when the party had her contact Matilda, and Vander was sitting nearby, keeping a watchful eye on the pair, as the rest of Aerith's companions, I guess we'll call them for now, Misty stepped off into the distance to provide sort of cover and make sure that the Inquisitor or any other locals, wildlife, etc., from the Feywild don't intrude upon you in this time. Sonny and Cass, are you both doing anything while Aerith conducts her inspection?
I think Sonic's just keeping an eye out and kind of helping the one guy who stayed behind keep watch over the closer area, because that's, a lot of territory for one person to watch.
Give me just a basic perception check while you're doing that.
1 second. That'll be a dirty 20.
So you walk over next to this gentleman who has not introduced himself and still has his mask up. And as you kind of look out on the distance with him, truly, aiding, but also keeping an eye on the scene inside, I'm sure, you notice that his clothing has been torn, blasted, ripped, and repaired many a time. And it up close is definitely a sort of intense patchwork. And from what you can see of the tired eyes behind the hood, they look like they have seen quite a lot of action in the time since the courts fell in the Feywild. The individual looks like they might be Eladrin as well, based on the skin coloration, which is kind of a evergreen color. And they just kind of glance at you in a friendly enough, tired nod as they continue their watch. Back at the site with Skelea and Aerith, I am just so flustered right now on every level. Um, Aerith needs to roll a couple dice as she looks at Skelea's spirit in her own way that she trained Vander on many years ago. Vander, you're not looking with like aura sight or anything right now, right? You're just sitting there.
Oh, I could roll a d100 to see, because there's a part of him that would be interested in seeing what she's doing, and the other that doesn't want to necessarily like inhibit in some way.
Roll it, because we love D100s here.
Decide for me, above or below 50
Uh,
for
above
Aether Sight.
above 50.
Above 50, you got it. I got a 50.
That counts.
All right.
Um, yeah, I would say that in this case, then if it wasn't like incredibly intentional and you were kind of split on it, you might just be idly looking, like you're not actively meditating, you're not actively using your aura sight at this moment, but your curiosity can't be helped slash your empathy spills over a little bit, and you get to see a little bit of what's going on. So you watch as Skelea's aura and even Aerith's aura kind of materialize into your vision with the faint outlines that you're used to. The last time that you saw your mom over 10 years ago, her aura would be best described as like a pleasant lilac kind of thing. And it always had a bit of playful energy to it. Now her aura has shifted to be more pinkish, still purple, but with more pink in it. And it is absolutely alive in a way that you had never seen with her, coursing with energy. And you don't know if this is an effect of the Feywild with how long she's been here or something else, but her spirit is intense and beautiful and vibrant, and she is overflowing with life despite the kind of tired shell that she carries. Very much the woman that you remember raising you, and it seems like she's just continued to grow into possibly the next evolution of herself, whatever that means. um with Skelea's aura, it remains the kind of faint blue, and you watch as that kind of sliver near her head that has the lack of color to it. Aerith passes her hand over it a few times as if feeling things, and at one point she goes and like jerks her hand back as if she was cut on something, but then returns her hand, and she looks up at you with like very distant eyes as she's not actually looking at you. and goes, she sustained this when she sent the sending spell?
That's what I'm theorizing.
Interesting. Was she able to cast magic afterwards?
Yes.
Hmm. And no other signs of injury after it?
Um, other than the sort of side effects that she's been having since the accident, I suppose. Nothing different, I would say.
What side effects did she have?
Um, a lot weaker. There's like dizziness that she would have. She would get nosebleeds a lot easier, and um, or like frequently, I guess, whenever she sort of exerted herself, and then doing too
When she
much
was casting
activity.
magic?
Yes.
Or both? Was physical activity causing it, or was this a magical thing?
Oh, mostly magic. I don't think I've seen her just randomly spout a nosebleed just uh without like something magical associated. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
Steely,
no,
there
that's a
was
lie.
the
Uh, uh, there was one instance, but I don't think that counted. So, as a related side effect, let me just. And he's like rambling.
You notice both her eyebrows go up a little bit and she like stops what she's doing and her gaze actually re-solidifies so she is looking at you and she just has like a very curious look on her face. Uh-huh. Okay. And she looks back down at Sky. uh and after a few more moments of inspection, she goes, "So yes, I think that all of you were on the right track. This spell did fracture her, more so her psyche than her aura, but it all gets a little mixed up when you get to a certain level. And it does seem like it was meant to kill her, and for whatever reason it didn't. It most likely impacted her ability to cast magic. It probably impacted some other metaphysical properties of her as a person, too. It looks like she's managed to heal from it slightly, but I'm assuming the exertion of magic repeatedly afterwards has kept it in this state, and then she kind of gestures at all of you. Astral projection probably wasn't the best idea, but you mentioned a spirit or something hanging over her or being involved with the ritual, right? And she's talking out loud in case Cass or Sonny want to chime in too.
Yeah. Um, when the spell was being cast, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but I was opening my eyes and I saw all of our spirits and whatnot, and but then I saw a stranger as well that was looming to her right, and I noticed that when I was inspecting her after everything happened, uh, a lot of that like her energy seemed to drain from her right side, and I feel like as a theory that the track like the spell was meant to sort of track, and that's how the Inquisitor found us and wanted her, is because of the tracking spell or something associated with the spell that initially did all this to her.
I would theorize that they're two different things. Does she have a tracking spell on her as part of whatever horrific, monstrous trap they set? Yes, I think that that's what happened. She sprung the trap, it tried to kill her, and a side effect is they can track her location. If you've never had a run-in with an Inquisitor until now, it's probably just because you're in the Feywild that they were able to find you so easily. But there is a tracking component to this, and that's I don't really know what to do about that because I can't see anything, and I'm sure you didn't see anything either. To us, it just looks like damage. So that might be a question for somebody with a bit more arcane practice. The drain, though, I noticed that pull on her aura as well, and that sounds like someone tried to disrupt her ritual or a spirit somehow tried to hitch a ride with it. But I'm sure that that didn't end up helping her in any way, and probably is why she is in this state right now. As for repairing it, as you know, and she's just like having this conversation with you despite everybody being able to hear it better. She's like, as you know, there are ways to heal this. It's going to take time, though.
Yeah.
She pauses and kind of muses a little bit as she looks down at her, looks up at Vander. He's wearing his normal outfit, right? Just like the clothes that he always wears. Thank you.
Pretty much, yeah. He's his original outfit. Had more open spots, like more skin exposed, like his stomach and stuff, because
Hmm.
monk garb and whatnot. But he's transferred over to being mostly covered.
Does he have any chest fur that shows off at any points?
He
Exposed.
has like a somewhat low V-neck, so like right about the middle of like the pecs, like
Okay.
that's where it would end. So
She
you can see a little bit.
indicates her head at that as she's pondering in the middle of this conversation and goes, "When did you start going gray?"
Huh? He looks down or wherever she's gesturing.
The bit of hair that's exposed from your clothing has turned a very silvery gray, and it matches the silver in Six hair. And it's most likely where you were clutching her during your attempt to stave off any negative effects.
Oh, and he like messes with it. I don't feel any different. I guess that's like with her, she didn't have the silver in her hair.
She pulls her hands back, rests on her haunches a bit, glances between you two. You can detect the faintest of a wry smirk on her lips as she's putting pieces together. Typically, when people are casting ritualistic spells, they're not in contact.
Yes, during the casting, I saw that she was like I saw the spirit, and then her nose started to bleed, and it looked like all the damage was like happening again, and so I did the best I think I could think of, and I grabbed her spirit with mine, and to hopefully take some of the burden from the spell.
Not what I might have recommended in the instance, I suppose, but definitely seems like it had an effect. Probably stabilized her enough to let the spell finish and not strand you all or kill her, which is a very good thing. Who is she?
Uh
He's a very powerful diplomat and ally.
Oh, she's a powerful diplomat. I
Yes.
noticed that she has some seals on her armor.
yeah, she's a really good friend,
Are you
and I
not just
want
going
to
to tell your
wait. I
mother
want to
what her
wait.
name is?
Oh, she knows.
He did
Yeah,
say Skalea. He did say Skalea.
yeah. Uh, I wanna wait until she's awake so we can make proper introductions. I think it would be much better that way.
Well, regardless, she's going to need some time to heal. She should keep spellcasting to a minimum, to say the least. Only use them if life depends on it, sort of thing, because her life sort of does. I can use a bit of my own energy, and I've learned a thing or two since I last had the opportunity to do lessons with you, dear son. And I can help mend this to a certain extent and put her on a better path. And she kind of leans back forward onto her knees and puts her hands over the wound in Six aura and closes her eyes and goes back to humming that lullaby like song. And you watch as tendrils of kind of purplish energy appear in the air from her hands between her and Sick and gently mend the cracks almost like a needle and thread. And eventually, the faintest bit of color spills into that shard. So it's not gray and black anymore, and it actually has the faintest hint of blue to it. And eventually, your mother, Aerith, pulls back and kind of shakes her hands and seems like she needs to like disconnect from what she was doing and return to reality. And she stands up and does a couple, movements and shakes her arms out and stuff and spins in a little circle and then takes a deep breath and looks down and goes, I put her on the right path. She should be stable for now and much better than even before she cast that astral projection. Just you need to take care of her and make sure that she doesn't um, try any major spell casting. I'd say at least for a couple weeks, if possible. Otherwise, she's going to keep ending up like this.
Thank you. And he'll like shuffle over to her because I know they're sitting and
Yeah.
hug her
Yeah.
again.
No, she'll hug him tight and she'll lean on him a little bit, and then she'll look over at like her last remaining man, Sonny, and Cass, and then go, I can't thank you all enough for accompanying my wonderful son here to for helping to try and find me and return me home. But I still don't know if right now is the time for me to return, as much as I yearn to not only see Fulmar, the rest of my family, and a bit selfishly, perhaps get my actual body back. I I'm assuming because you astrally projected here, this wasn't meant to be a long trip. There are ways you could help us fight back, but at the same time, that's a huge ask, and you are in a somewhat vulnerable state. So, what is it that you all want to do now that you do have some news of me?
Well, I don't know if I'd be speaking for all of us, but I feel like we would be inclined to help you because of our personal ties to what's going on here and how it's affected the material plane, especially with Sani. And in terms of you staying here, that's okay. It's a little sad to hear that you don't want to go home, but that's not my
I,
decision to make, and you have a very good reason to be here, and I want to help you with it.
I mean,
And
yeah.
so here, in preparation for this trip, I did have this made, and he'll pull out the banishment scroll.
And she tilts her head for a moment and looks at the scroll and like doesn't seem to be connecting the dots. What's that?
It's a scroll of banishment.
It would have sent you back to your home plane.
That's a clever idea. Did you come up with that? And she looks at Vander.
Uh, I sort of.
Well, regardless, that's a brilliant idea, and I've considered such a thing before, but never been able to find someone willing or able to cast that spell on me. It's not that I don't want to go back home, Vander. I miss you terribly, and I miss many others terribly. It's just after I've seen what Feth has done to the lands here and the people here, I would feel remiss if I didn't continue in my efforts to help these people get back to their families and their normal lives.
I
I don't blame
understand.
you. Yeah.
Would you say, Sonny?
I understand. It's rather how we got mixed up in all of this too.
Is the Feywild?
Sonny takes a deep breath, finally goes, Sick was trying to reach Matilda Ravino because she had been missing, and she is my lover.
Scully is your lover?
No, Matilda.
You're in bed with one of the Ravinos.
You could say that, yes. I mean, not for a while.
Literally.
What did you say, Jillian?
Literally.
Oh,
It's been some time. She's been missing for almost 2 months now.
I see. Well, my apologies. I didn't know of anyone other than the Inquisitor Ravinos here, but I'm assuming from the way that you're all talking about her, she's not a monster.
She was exiled. Ethet changed her form and sent her to our planet.
Ah, well, that fills in some of the missing gaps in the story so far, then. Well,
She has basically wanted nothing but to destroy Ethet since she reached Akara, and I don't know the exact circumstances of why she disappeared, but it was shortly after I told her what I had learned about Ethet.
hmm. Well, if you are all up for some help and a bit of adventure, we were in this general area for a reason. typically we don't tend to operate out of here because it's very barren and both sides don't really have a lot of strategic assets in this area. We're hunting that Inquisitor, same one that you probably dealt with, the Ravino. We need information from him, not to mention an artifact that he keeps in his possession that would allow us access to Afet's keep. It's one of the last pieces that we need to hopefully try and strike back at her with decent numbers and a decent chance. If you wanted to, or were able to help us, helping us in our fight against him would be the best thing that you could do. But at the same time, you are also astrally projecting and are not here in the safest sort of way. And I would not want any of you to get hurt. And she reaches over and like squeezes Vander's shoulder specifically as she says that. Once we strike it a Fed, and if we're able to take her out, I will want to return home immediately. But that's still going to be a couple weeks away if we can even best this Inquisitor to finalize our plans. So if you need to take some time to think about it before you leave, we can spend the night here and keep you safe. And I would love some time to catch up with Vander and get to know you all a little bit better, but something to think about if you did want to aid us in our fight here. But if you have to get back for other reasons or would prefer not to engage, I would not blame you in the slightest.
Uh, Sonny, Cass, isn't that Inquisitor supposed to be coming back?
If, well, however long it takes them to realize Cass was lying to him.
Yeah. So that's my, well, that's like, I'm down for taking out a pet and helping and all that, but I am concerned that we do have an Inquisitor who is going to be really mad at us shortly, and it would be harder to reach us while on the material plane. Plus, like, sick obviously isn't doing well, so we do need to get her home and like somewhere where she can be rested. So, like, if we want to come back and deal with the consequences of my actions, we could.
Thing is, we would need Sick to cast astral projection again
I
if
think
we
the idea would
left.
be that we should come back in our bodies if we want to stay here long term, because I think astral projection only lasts for 24 hours.
We would need. The problem is that we need a gate or another way to get here. The one that's, well, the entire reason we projected is the portal here was destroyed.
Indeed.
And as far as we know, that there aren't any other active portals, at least ones that are easily accessible. Afet most likely has her own in one of the royal keeps that she commandeered, but there's none that we have ever come across or we would have tried to use them. As an out of character thing, though, astral projection doesn't have a time limit on it. Technically, when the caster's body withers and dies from not eating and drinking,
Oh my god.
I mean, it's not gonna
Which,
it will end if Sick wills it to end, is how it ends.
Or if anything reduces each of us individually, like if our
His,
projections drop to 0 HP, we
yes,
immediately wake up. But
yes. Or if dispel magic is used on you, technically. So
I mean, if we did want to get sick back home so she can like start recovering properly, we were headed to a very magical school. So I'm sure maybe someone there could help us get back to the Feywild, possibly.
or and Sonny kind of pauses for a second. It's like if it is safe to try to contact her again, Matilda probably has some ways, and I'm sure knowing that there is a chance that people are ready to act against a threat would be news she would be very happy to hear and participate in.
And more allies are always good. But if we are feeling good about this and we think we can keep Six safe, like, I'm down to go with what the party's good for. Just
well,
kind of worried about this one.
you have time to think about it too. I'm sure that Inquisitor is not returning immediately, and we'll stay and keep you safe for the night, and we won't part until we have actual plans. Plus, I'm not letting Vander go that easily. We have much to talk about and to catch up on, but something for all of you to think and continue to discuss on because we could use some help against this Inquisitor. And as much as it might seem crass, using you as bait would help our efforts.
That's what I was thinking.
That is true.
Having
True, if
us
we could
be
just keep
baked
him
here.
busy for a moment, and then you and your fellows could be the cavalry, you know?
We would try. He's definitely a formidable foe. We've fought Inquisitors and prevailed in other times, but not without casualties. So, something to think about.
If
I
we were able
think
to overpower him, what would you do?
Well, we primarily want the artifact that he has on him because it allows teleportation through the barriers around Effect's Keep. And that's what we need, a guaranteed way to get everyone in that we need to get into truly strike against her. But we would also want to ask questions as well and see if we could gain any intelligence on her movements and what she is planning. And we have a large list of things that we're curious about. And one of my followers is a paladin, and we would be using Zone of Truth on him to get every ounce of information out. So I assume that if we did that, you would also want to ask some questions as well.
yeah, that's true.
Definitely love that plan.
I feel like we could easily be bait because the Inquisitor said he would give us the night.
Well, and just based off of your reactions, it doesn't seem like you really think he bought what you sold him. So it does sound like he'll be back. I'm assuming you
Well,
sold him lies.
yes, and I mean, the chances of them being accidentally true are astronomically high.
I mean, you never know, but I'm assuming that they will eventually find out your intelligence was not truthful and will return. So,
Yeah.
but
Thought us some
hopefully,
fun though.
hopefully we have the evening, a nice, peaceful evening then to catch up. And as she finishes saying that, because the DM has been rolling dice on her screen for the last like hour and a half slash 2 hours every so often, some bitch finally passed her check after this long because that's how bad my dice rolls have been. Not that any of my players are surprised about this. Oh,
Yeah,
when
you
I
only get 20s when you try to crit Sony.
Yeah, when I did Bard Out of Hell for Andromeda Adventures earlier this week, which was a blast, and we're gonna do the second part next week because they ended up having some really cool roleplay moments along the way, and we got like halfway through it. I couldn't roll for shit against them either. Like it was laughable every roll that I made. So apparently, just when I'm a DM, I can't roll against anybody. But anyway, as Aerith comments on having a peaceful night, you guys hear a very undignified mix of a gasp of air, snort, and other in elven sounds as Sick snaps back to consciousness and goes and starts to wake up after everything that she had been through, and her eyes are clear this time, none of that weird kind of milkiness to them, and she like looks around in a panic, but not the panic that you saw originally when she came out of the spell when she was angry. This is a more scared, vulnerable panic, and eventually her eyes adjust to the darkness, and she's an elf, you know what I mean. Her eyes adjust, and she sees Vander and reaches out for a hand or something like that as she's waking up.
He of course reaches out for her, frantically in fact.
She like grabs his hand and like her hand does that little like climb up the arm thing until she has like more of his arm, and then she stops and she like looks up at Aerith and like tilts her head this way and tilts her head this way as if trying to figure out if it's Aerith or Fulmar. and
It's my mom.
wait, what?
It's my mom. He's like
That's your mom?
whispering.
And then Aerith just has a big smile on her face, and she's like, "How long has she been here?"
A few hours now.
Hello, Mrs. Malvern Aerith. It's nice to meet you." And Aerith just
And remember, she's a
slowly,
diplomat.
yeah, yeah,
She's also very hungover right now through no fault of her own.
yeah. Aerith slowly crosses her arms and looks down at Sick and nods like in a okay kid sort of way. He goes, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Skalea. Are you sure she's a diplomat?
Yeah, she is.
No, I know totally. Big diplomat, big time fan. Um, has your my head really hurts. I'm sure they told you all about how we got here, and she's up to speed on everything, right?
Yeah. Almost everything. Haven't met you yet.
You haven't met me?
No, I wanted to wait for you to wake up first.
Oh, and she like puts one arm behind herself and slowly pushes herself up with some effort, and she's mostly pulling herself up by using her arm, which is immovable compared to her. Um, and she like gets herself up to a sitting position with a bit of swaying, and she's like, uh, well, I'm proper introductions then. I'm Skalea Tilnerballen. It's very nice to finally meet you. I promise I'm not normally like this. And Eris like chuckling under her breath and goes, hmm, diplomat. You said there
Yeah.
was something that you wanted to tell me, Vander?
Uh,
It's
she
really
is.
unfortunate you missed the wedding.
No,
Oh, they had the what? You're
no,
married?
Cass,
no, we're not married.
Cass, why are you so full of lies today?
A while, and
there's,
I was helping break the
there's,
ice.
there's the quote of the night. Cass, why are you so full of lies today?
That was
So
good.
Aerith looks at Vander in complete shock, with a weird mix of approval, kind of like shock, approval, curiosity, amusement. Skalea goes white as she possibly can. And like looks at Vander like a helpless puppy for a second and like, wait, what's going on?
They're just teasing. We're not married.
Oh, so that was just a joke from your friend.
Yes,
Yes,
Oh,
to
okay.
help them get over the awkwardness.
And what awkwardness is that because they still haven't said anything?
we are. However, he like locks his fingers together, like
They're
both his
dating.
indexes like linked. You know.
Wait, is he doing this or did he grab her hand or what is he doing?
He's with his own two indexes. He's like linking them
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. Galea finally being able to like recover from all that brings a hand up and just puts her face in it and starts laughing. And she's like, Yes, what your son's trying to say is that we're dating and I'm madly in love with him. So that's what's going on." And
You're
Er-
what?
no, not again.
He's pouting a little. You can see his eyes all teary.
Galea continues to go whiter, if that's somehow possible, like ashen at this point. And she looks at you and she's like, Did I just do that again? Where I said something that I hadn't said yet? In a
Yeah.
I I love your son, Miss Malavet Aerith. He's one of the best people that I've ever met, and kind and gentle, and yes, I love your son. And Aerith has a hand over her mouth, and she is just holding back all sorts of giggles, and you guys hear faint laughter coming from the ruins around you, where the rest of the troops probably are that are in earshot at this point.
Gods.
But eventually, Aerith decides to stop letting especially Skalea, stop suffering. Um, and goes, "Well, you could have just come out and said that, Vander. She seems like a very nice, if slightly disoriented lady, which I assume this is not her normal demeanor, but considering the damage that I witnessed to her aura, that's completely understandable. But she does seem to be very taken with you."
Banner is beat red. His hands are his face is in his hands.
And she just in Aerith like looks over at Sonny and Cass and goes, "See, in all my wildest dreams, which I've had many of, wondering if I'd ever get to see my son again, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would get over 10 years of this sort of fulfillment of motherhood in this short amount of time. Because I kept
You know
thinking of
why?
all the things that I missed out, and she just like she'll glance like as your heads are in your head and just keep smiling, and then look back at them and be like, "This entire time, I've always wondered what have I missed out on in my son's life? Have I missed out on him getting married, having children? What struggles and things has he gone through, and that I wasn't there for? And to think that I get to be here for this moment, watching my son melt into a puddle." And she like leans forward to drive the embarrassment in a little bit. Melt into a puddle in front of his mother as his girlfriend confesses her love to him.
His tail is wagging.
Oh my god.
It's doing that uncontrollable thump that dogs do, you know?
Thump, 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 thump. Oh, adorable. Skalea is beet red next to you as well, but she just decided to commit to the bit a little while ago with everything. And she scoots her butt over a bit and just puts an arm around you and like leans her head against yours as she's beet red too, and she just starts laughing. And as Vander blushes, Skalea blushes and laughs. The troops of that seem to be under the command of Aerith laugh around the rooms as well, and everybody's getting like a much needed sort of release from this humor and everything that's popped up. I think that's where we'll end it for tonight, and we're gonna go ahead and pick up hopefully next week, same time, same well not same place, same time, which is 7 p.m. PST. We've got a bit of a late start tonight due to tech and the DM, but normally 7 p.m. PST. And we will be in one of our studios next week. We have some exciting news for Mythical Family coming soon. Stay tuned. But we'll go ahead and leave off with everybody getting really good, deep belly laughs and some humor and happiness here
I,
after all
I,
the seriousness.
I
What's up?
actually have one small thing to add, if you're okay with
Yes.
it.
Oh, yes. Add it. Add it.
With all of the everyone kind of having a good time and laughing and everything that just happened with Sick, Sonny just kind of laughs at everyone for a minute and then just kind of quietly walks off by herself and gets one of the sending scrolls out.
Oh, she sends it?
Oh,
She is going to
Sonny!
try.
That is
roll,
not
roll.
part of the plan.
Not too late. Roll a d100.
Comes up as 95.
95. Okay. Go ahead and tell us what you we'll end on the message that you send. So what is the message that you send?
Well, Sonny is she's been kind of thinking about what she wanted to say for a little bit, and then after the last minute she did make some changes. So it's just simply, it's Sonny. I'm sorry I did not send sooner. I hope you are safe. I'm projected into the Feywild with resistance. I love you.
aw.
I like it. Okay. Well, Sonny walks off into the shadows of the runes with the beautiful Feywild night playing out above in the sky and sends the sending spell to Matilda. And that's exactly what we'll pick up next time to see if there's a rebound or something else happens, including a response. And then everybody will be able to spend the night and sort of plan the party's next move. Are they going to fight back against the Inquisitor Ravino with Aerith and her forces? Are they going to stay in the Feywild? Are they going to instead head to the university in Quandir? Another big fork in the road for the party, it sounds like. But thank you, Paul, for coming in watching tonight with us and putting up with a very loopy DM. I am sorry. I like the elf am not usually this out of it. I can be out of it on our streams, and my players love to make me laugh and snort and stuff like that. But I am trying new medication this weekend. It is causing a lot of fatigue and tiredness and stuff, so I'm a little extra out of it. But hopefully, it was at least amusing. Um, Glad that Mort got to stop by and see my absolute embarrassment for a little bit. That's great. That's not going to haunt me forever. But otherwise, we'll be. And as I watch his little DM, I just see Mort's DM icon pop up in Discord. I don't want to even look. We're going to go ahead and hop off for the night. We hope you all have a great week, and we hope to see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. PST on Prismatic Dragonfly Tap. But we'll see you then. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.